Magical human, hello. 2 days in a row. Can you believe it? Well, I barely can't. If I'm scratching my ear, it's because I can't believe it. So, yes, in today's session, and for the purpose of me staying disciplined, I thought I would make things easy, not only for you, but also for myself. And I'm just going to be pulling a guided and intuitive message from my fabulous little doodle deck, which is still a work in progress. So I'm just going to close my eyes and literally let a number drop right in. 77, there it is. No wasting today. 77. What does number 77 have to tell us today? Okay, interesting. So number 77 reads, boundaries are not walls, they are bridges. Boundaries are not walls, they are bridges. And that's the fabulous little doodle that goes with it, as my poochie just strolls behind. So yes, I see lots of love, and I see beautiful, luscious lips. And just, I guess, what's tapping into me is just, I guess, honoring the self. And for a long time, I must confess, I was an avid people pleaser. Still sneaks in there sometimes. I have to really be diligent with myself. And sometimes I do catch myself and I'm like, bitch, whoa, no girl. If it ain't feeling good for you, then it ain't going to be feeling good for anybody. So, yes, I rather like this quote. Boundaries are not walls, they are bridges. So boundaries have been something that is a new development in my life, so to speak. I guess I was more like NATO before, no borders, so to speak. Everyone could come in, everyone could do what they wanted. I was just all love and light, guys. I was just all love and light. And if someone did hurt me, it was because it was the mirror. And I had to look at myself through what I was experiencing. Someone's behavior is always a potential reflection of oneself. That's what I used to subscribe to, and that's the philosophy that used to run my life. So I kind of just let people treat me any way that they wanted to treat me. And from a really young age, I even remember my mom, she wasn't very firm on boundaries for self. She was very firm on boundaries for others. So watch what you say, watch how you behave. You don't want to upset other people. Don't be that kind of person, God bless her heart. She was doing the best she could. And she also came from a different time and generation. A little late baby bloomer there, post-war apocalypse and all that. In fact, my mom was born in the year of the last year of the war, but anyway, 1945. But so yes, quite some time ago, So so I had to learn I actually just had to learn what boundaries were. Like, what are boundaries? How do they function? How do they operate? Do they have like a bridge? Do they have roads that you can travel across, over, through? How do boundaries work? So I'm still navigating the process because it's still quite a new thing to me, and I'm still figuring it out as I go along. But yes, when I first started to practice boundaries, it was very, very uncomfortable. In fact, it felt horrible, guys. It felt absolutely horrible. It felt like I was being the worst person in the world. Sometimes the feeling of honoring yourself was sometimes tougher than letting someone treat you like shit. How crazy is that? Like, what crazy ass mind fuckery and conditioning is that shit? That's all I have to say. Where you can, you don't want to upset someone, but if they upset you, hey, it's okay, because you're the better person, right? How many times have you heard that being said? Be the better person. Wow. So yes, I'm very grateful for this concept of bridges, as this fabulous quote says. And I don't want to be putting up high walls with barbed fencing and electric fencing and all that kind of stuff, guys. I don't want to I don't want to live in those kind of boundaries, you know. Like, who wants to live in those boundaries? Because those kind of boundaries don't make you feel free, right? It feels like you're almost a prisoner in your own T's and C's, terms and conditions. And you, as much as you don't want to let people from outside come in, you also don't allow yourself to, kind of step out into the world because you're barricaded by all of these borders and boundaries. So I really love this quote because it just reminds us that boundaries are not walls, they are bridges. And, bridges are there to almost siphon the energy, siphon the amount of people that are coming over at a certain amount of time. They allow for us to cohabitate between one space and another, kind of like merging two spaces together. And I really feel that is so beautiful. And I really do believe that in many relationships and in many spaces and places and in many cases, there is undeniably opportunity for bridges as opposed to boundaries. Absolutely. I love that. I love that sentiment. And I completely subscribe to it. And as I'm saying that, I'm getting like so excited because I feel like this card has just reminded me of another avenue or another way of looking at life. So it's still important for you to honor what is sacred and what is true to you, but also just to acknowledge that someone else's truth is their truth and their beliefs are their beliefs, right? And where can we possibly meet in the midway of this bridge, so to speak, and perhaps create even a third way of looking at things. But I must also acknowledge that sometimes the bridge has to be drawn up. Sometimes you've got to like draw the bridge up and you got to have that moat protecting you because, there are some nefarious peeps out there, guys. Call them people, call them animals, call them Anunnaki, call them reptilians, call them lower dimensional beings, call them whatever you want to call them, guys. I don't actually give a shit what you want to call them. But sometimes you do need to draw that bridge up and you do need to protect your space. But yes, I think I've said all I need to actually say. I feel like I'm hada on. So yes, a repeat. Boundaries are not walls, they are bridges. So yes, here's to honoring those bridges, drawing them up when we feel we need to, and lowering them to create a drawbridge when we feel safe in our own knowingness and being, and we are intrigued, curious, or wanting just to get out there. Here's to lowering those bridges, I guess. Today's message has been a little all over, but that's okay. It's allowed. We're all allowed to make some fuck ups. The more we fuck around, the more we find out, as they say. So yes, apologies for the imperfect but yet perfect delivery. As always, continue to sow those seeds, allow for the flow and magic of life to find and guide you so that you may ultimately grow, illuminate, and glow. Until tomorrow's delicious and wondrous episode, stay magical. Bye.